This is a piece of technology crafted by alien civilization and sent down to humanity as a redemption console. What else could humanity have asked for? Behold the Mi 11 Ultra. Well, that was a little overboard, I guess, but the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra is definitely the best smartphone I have ever used, and arguably the best Android smartphone there is right now. You get the biggest camera sensors, the most wide-angle camera lens, and also the most zoom lens on any device presently. As though that's not enough, you also get the best display manufactured by Samsung. You can max out at 512 gigs of internal storage, 12 gigs of RAM, the Snapdragon 888 processor, and a 5000 mAh battery. You see, this is my favorite Android smartphone right now, and the best you can get, period. But you know, if you want to find out the things I love about the Mi 11 Ultra, about a month after using this device, and as someone who's coming from the Mi 11, the regular device here, and also the reason, just one reason why you might want to pick up the Mi 11 Ultra over the regular Mi 11, sit down, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. Now, the merchant who I purchased this unit from sent me the variant without a charger in it, but for the standard unit, you get a 65-watt charger, a USB Type-C cable, I think a Type-C to 3.5mm jack converter, and a TPU case, those sort of things. My unit here comes in the small box with just the TPU case and a smartphone in it. You also see that SIM ejection tool, which should be standard. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the design here. There are two things you definitely would notice when you pull the smartphone out for the first time. One is how heavy this smartphone is, and secondly, how huge the camera module looks. Now, these two things owe to the fact that there is a special camera thing going on with this smartphone, and more weight because of the large camera sensors, like I mentioned earlier, and the same applies to the bulge you see here in this design. The good thing about this bulge is the fact that it spans across the rear of this device, hence it wouldn't rock on a table. Did you notice the little screen to the side of the camera? Yeah, that's a tiny display that lets you take selfies with the main camera, giving you the best selfies from any smartphone at the time of making this video. And also, you can customize this display to show certain photos, time, and all that on a double tap. Fun fact, this tiny display on here is the same as that on the Mi Band 5. Same thing here, a 1.1-inch AMOLED display. The rear of the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra is made out of ceramic and not glass, as ceramic tends to be regarded as more premium than glass. But that also adds to the overall weight of the smartphone. Those are about what you get to see at the rear of this smartphone, the Mi 11 Ultra. And I've got the ceramic black variant here, but you can also get a white variant, the ceramic white variant, as it comes in just two available colors. The right side has the volume rocker and the power button, left side is plain, while the bottom has a SIM tray, actually a dual SIM tray. You'd have to place SIMs on each side of the tray, no memory expansion slot though, a USB-C port, mouthpiece opening, and downfiring speaker, which makes up for the stereo speaker configuration, with the other speaker at the top of this smartphone. By the way, these speakers on here are branded Harmon Kardon stereo speakers, better than those on the Mi 11 and also the best Android sounding speakers right now. You also have the IR blaster at the top and a secondary microphone for better sounding audio during calls and recordings. I know you might be wondering where the fingerprint sensor is. Well, that's because it has an in-display fingerprint sensor. In general, the build quality screams premium and about the best there is right now. Wow, this is a camera mountain. Now let's touch on the front side of the smartphone. You get a 6.81 AMOLED panel with Quad HD Plus resolution, that's 1440p, 120Hz refresh rate, over 1700 nits at peak brightness. Now that's the brightest screen on a smartphone right now, and it can display up to 10-bit colors. This might seem to be a lot of jargons to a lot of people, but what I'm trying to say here is that this is the best display on any smartphone, even better than the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. Yep, and Samsung did actually manufacture this display. I don't think I mentioned earlier, but the display here is actually tapered to the side, so you have this curved thingy going on with this display, but it isn't a problem in any form, and I think I like the implementation on the smartphone. No accidental touches or extreme skewing of the videos you watch. What else do I talk about? I know you guys have been waiting for the camera, so let's go there. There are 3 camera sensors on here, and on paper you get a 50 megapixel main sensor with dual autofocus and optical image stabilization, and also the biggest sensor we have seen on any smartphone, The second camera on here is a 48 megapixel sensor, an ultra wide sensor. And then you get this 48 megapixel zoom lens with up to 5x optical zoom and up to 120x digital zoom, bundled with OIS too. As far as I can tell, you get excellent and sweet looking photos and also good exposure with this main lens. Like literally top tier in the smartphone game right now. This also transcends to the ultra wide sensor. Some of the best looking ultra wide photos you're going to get are what you can see from the smartphone. Now, like I mentioned earlier, it's about the widest smartphone camera out there, and you would begin to notice that the ultra wide tends to give this Q image to the edge, something like a little fish eye effect. And it's actually expected when you go that wide. The zoom lens on here takes things a little further, although I don't really find myself going up to 120x. I mean, at that point, it's just basically a gimmick. You get blurry and quite useless photos at 120x, but hey, it is on here for reflex. Now take a look at the photos coming from the main camera to the 5x optical zoom down to the 120x zoomed in. You still can read what comes up with that camera though. Selfies are pretty much flagship standard using the front-facing camera, and you get this nice looking portrait shots with this camera, which is a 20 megapixel sensor. But where things get crazy is the fact that you can actually take selfies using the rear cameras, all thanks to the rear display. When you switch to the rear camera mode and turn on that rear display, it then serves as a viewfinder. And with that, you can take photos using the rear cameras while monitoring the shots. And boy, this makes this the best selfie camera ever, at least up until now. With the viewfinder, you can take photos using the main, the wide, and the zoom cameras, a world of more selfie possibilities. The problem I have with this feature on here, let's not say a problem, let me rephrase that. The little issue, it's a problem actually. The problem I have with this feature on here is the fact that you don't have the liberty to use this rear display while making videos. You have a short rear video feature for 15 seconds, which is not like something you're going to use while vlogging. Fingers crossed, Xiaomi might have to push out an update that lets us use this rear display as a viewfinder while recording your vlogs. Videos can be recorded at up to 8K 24 FPS, but the videos you are seeing right now on the screen are recorded in 4K 30 FPS, and they have amazing stabilization, good colors, and exposure. Did I mention the smartphone has amazing low light performance? Photos with the main camera also tend to look like portrait modes once you are close to the subject, even without turning that feature on. And that's because this sensor here is actually huge. Oscarmini here, and this is a multi-camera test for the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, the front-facing camera, and also the rear 1x camera. And this is a front-facing camera video test for the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. Generally, for the cameras on the Mi 11 Ultra, I can't really express how excited I've felt so far using this smartphone in the past 1 month or so. I tend to find this consistent color or theme going on with the camera modules on here. That's from the main camera to the ultra wide to the zoom lens, great exposure, consistent colors, and an overall amazing camera experience. Now, there's nothing really to talk about when it comes to the performance on the smartphone. For the specs, you get a Snapdragon 888 5G chipset, 12GB of RAM, Android 11, MIUI 12.5. You can get up to 512 gigs of internal storage, but my unit here is 256 gigs of internal storage. I mean, these are top of the line specs and performance for a smartphone right now. Activities feel really snappy, and I actually like MIUI enough to use it as my launcher, and I haven't experienced any form of lag whatsoever. The battery here is a 5000 mAh battery, and this smartphone has support for a 65 watts charger that comes in some units. Unfortunately, I didn't get that. You also have a wireless charging capability with the amazing reverse charging feature on the Mi 11 Ultra. Battery life here is standard, but really got drained a lot whenever I use the cameras on here. And this camera is a huge battery hog. All in all, you get a good all-day battery life from the Mi 11 Ultra. So let's talk about the price for this device. The Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra is actually very expensive. If you want to get these features like the best cameras, the best displays, top of the line processing and all that, you have to be willing to shell out that hard-earned money. I got this variant here, 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of internal storage for $1,250, and that's about 585,000 naira. Actually a lot, but that's the price you have to pay for the smartphone. Is it actually worth that price? Well, it's slightly more expensive than the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, but for whoever has the means to pick up the smartphone, you'll probably justify getting this device anyway. So what are my final thoughts on the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra? Despite this being the best in a whole lot of categories, you must have noticed I said a lot of bests in this video. I don't think this smartphone is for everyone. The difference in price between the regular Mi 11 here and the Ultra is roughly $500, and I can't really justify that since the major difference between these two smartphones would be the cameras and maybe a slightly larger battery. I mean, these cameras consume more power than what you get from this one, and so about the same battery life is what you should expect from the smartphone. Also, the Ultra is a really heavy phone and bulky and a little tiring for me actually, to the point that I'm considering switching back over to the regular Mi 11 as my daily driver. Well, I'll let you guys know if I eventually switch back to that device. Is the Mi 11 Ultra actually worth this money? Well, I think the target audience for this smartphone would be those people who prefer or like premium devices, and so 1000% worth it for them. But the right question here should be, is the smartphone for everyone? And the answer is no, I don't think so. There are actually a whole lot of good mid-range devices like, say, the Samsung Galaxy A52 that would suit a lot of people, and this device on here will get about 4 of those. So should you go buy this smartphone if you have the means to? By all means, go splurge, get the smartphone, it's amazing. It gives you this amazing smartphone experience. But if you can't really afford this smartphone, you won't be missing out on a lot, as a lot of smartphones in the mid-range category are really good enough for a lot of people out there. And that would be my take on the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd really love to hear from you guys. Kindly hit on that like button and also subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that already. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Cuídate.